What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another 4K Blu-ray review. And today's movie is actually a trilogy of movies. That would be Bill and Ted's most triumphant trilogy. For the first time in 4K, for most of the films, the third one actually came out in 4K before, but Shout Factory put out this beautiful boxed set of all three films, and it's glorious. Now you can purchase each one of these individually, but it's cheaper to get them all together. Plus you get this awesome, cool looking box. It's some really cool artwork. And then inside, got the individual movies. What can be said about Bill and Ted? Since 1989, and then again in 1991, I've been enjoying watching Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan and their tales to make their band, the Wild Stallions, incredible, to take it to the top. But their lackadaisical attitude always seems to hold them back. Granted, their guitar skills leaves a lot to be desired. But in any case, it's still fun watching them and see what they come up with. And they try their best. I haven't seen these films for a while, so it's good to get back into it. Granted, I just watched the third film for the second time. And what can be said about Keanu Reeves? It's because of these movies. That's probably why I've always been into him. Let's get into it. The first movie, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, we meet the two slackers, Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan, as they are practicing their instruments for their band, Wild Stallions. At the same time, they are at risk from flunking their history class, and if that happens, Ted will need to join the army. In comes Rufus, played by George Carlin, in a phone booth, which can take you anywhere in time. He says he is going to help them with their report by going to all the key points in history and bringing back important individuals for their report. If they don't pass their report, then the band doesn't exist and they will not be an inspiration with their music to the future utopian society. Rufus ends up saving the day and the boys pass their report to a standing ovation. They also bring back two princesses who help form the band. All is well in the utopian future. Shout Factory has released this with a brand new 2351 Dolby Vision image that looks pretty good for 35 years old. I say pretty good because I was expecting it to be better. It's actually the least quality of all three films. I liked that it was in CinemaScope, but I felt the image was a tad soft and washed out most of the time. There was decent details in the image, but the colors weren't as vivid as I was expecting. Blacks were pretty good, but overall, the image was a tad disappointing. Maybe they didn't go back to the camera negative. The audio was presented in DTS 5.1 HD. I thought it was very lively, especially since it's a musical heavy film. Sound effects made full use of all speakers and the low frequency effects were very deep and rumbling. Vocals were clear and precise. I don't have any complaints about the audio here. In terms of special features, you had two separate commentary tracks, an hour-long retrospective on the film, and a trailer. These are all on the Blu-ray. I thoroughly enjoyed this first film, and it's a satisfying release. The video could be better, but I'm not that upset. 8 out of 10. On to the second film, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. This one came out in 1991, and I saw it in the theater. I was 13. It's a worthy follow-up, though it's a little more dour with its darker humor and its the inclusion of death. It's still entertaining. I liked it back then, and I still like it now. Maybe a little less than the first one, though. But it is nice that, you know, they take some chances with this one, and it's not just a simple rehash as the first movie. Let's get on to the film. Bill and Ted's utopian future is again at risk because of the old gym teacher of Rufus, the evil Chuck Denomalos. He sends back evil Bill and Ted robots to kill the good boys, so they can't win Battle of the Bands, so Wild Stallions won't exist. They succeed, and Bill and Ted end up meeting the Grim Reaper, played by Bill Sadler. He's the best part of this movie. Bill and Ted end up beating him at multiple games, including Twister. He agrees to take them back. They use the alien stations to build good Bill and Ted robots that destroy the evil robots. They win the Battle of the Bands and all is saved. Shout factor, we went back to the camera negative for this one, and it shows. Colors are exceptional, and the blacks and shadow detail looked very clear and defined. I was extremely satisfied with the image here. Even though it wasn't in Dolby Vision, the picture was great. My only complaint was the image was in 1851 instead of 2351. Weird. Audio for this film was again in DTS 5.1 HD. It was as good as the last film, as well as this one was much heavier on the soundtrack, with some big names such as Faith No More and Megadeth. Megadeth wrote a song for the film. Sounds and dialogue were also very consistent across the board. Very happy with the audio on this film as well. There are a ton of special features here on the Blu-ray disc. In addition to the 2 commentaries, you also have 5 making of documentaries and interviews concerning the film, totaling over 2 hours of material. Don't forget about the trailer. As I mentioned, this is a worthy follow-up to the original. Maybe not as good as that first one, but it's still entertaining, and I have to commend the filmmakers for trying something new and not simply doing a rehash. But Bill Sadler as the Grim Reaper, he was hilarious and the best part of this movie. Plus, I did like the inclusion of Pam Grier. 7.5 out of 10. Finally, we come to the last film in the franchise, Bill and Ted Face the Music. This was made almost 30 years after Bogus Journey. And again, we get to follow our 2 favorite slackers as they have one more task. They have to write a song to unite humanity. Honestly, this is the weakest of the franchise, and even though I enjoyed watching Bill and Ted and their 2 daughters, they were hilarious. It just kind of got convoluted with all the time travel stuff, but at least Bill Sadler was back as the Grim Reaper. Let's get into it. The world is unraveling because our favorite funny men, slackers, Bill and Ted, have not written the one song that is supposed to unite humanity. Rufus's daughter, Kelly, comes to them and takes them before her mother, the great leader in the future, 2720. She informs them that they have until 7:17 that evening to write this song, or the universe will collapse amongst itself. Bill and Ted travel to different dates in the future to try and steal the song from their older selves. Meanwhile, the great leader sends a robot to kill them, which she believes will save the universe, as she doesn't believe in Rufus's prophecy. The boys' lives and marriages are falling apart before themselves, but maybe with the help of their 2 daughters, which are crazier than they are, that they'll be able to help save the day as they are traveling through time to find great musicians. The fate of the universe hangs in the balance. Out of all 3 movies, this one looks the best in 4K, but then again, it's only 4 years old. The Dolby Vision encoded 2351 image certainly pops throughout, with only minor gripes when they were in hell. I really liked the bright, colorful day scenes, but for the most part, the picture was very clear and looked great. Facial tones really looked true to life as our main characters were in their 50s and the wrinkles were abundant. The audio was again presented in DTS 5.1 HD, and it was certainly bombastic and very lively throughout. The musical numbers filled the theater with loud and ripping guitar riffs. Bass levels were also very deep and pronounced. There was excellent use of all speakers here, including the surrounds. Like I mentioned earlier, it helped that the movie was a recent one. Dialogue was clear and precise. In terms of special features, you have a few brief behind-the-scenes videos and then a much longer Comic-Con video conference, since it took place during the beginning of COVID. There is no trailer, but you have the usual commentary track. Overall, this is the weakest of the series, but it's great to see the entire cast back. Plus, Alex Winters and Keanu Reeves have great chemistry together, as do their daughters. 6 out of 10. Well, there you have it. This is a must-buy boxed set, and even if you don't like the third film, it's still cheaper to buy these all together. Plus, completionist. Might as well just get it. Plus, check out the artwork. Beautiful. Buy it. It's must buy. Well, that's today's review. Come back again for another 4K Blu-ray review.
Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share, bruh.